You need to face your your problems. You need to take responsibility for the things that you would have done. Okay, the girl get pregnant, bring her child into the world.
But she didn't get pregnant by herself.
This is not an immaculate conception,
Yes.
right? Now, what I would like to also add, ladies, if you are 100% sure that it is that person that you say it is, child, if the guy is unsure, don't feel bad if he asks for DNA test, because if you all weren't in a serious relationship and it was just a thing,
Mm-hmm.
if the person asks for it, you have to understand the situation that both of you were in. This wasn't nobody put a gun to your head. So if the person asks for that, don't feel like oh, you feel like that. No, it's not about that. He wants to make sure so he doesn't spend 18 years of his life paying for something that isn't his.
Yeah,
Because there's so many stories about it now.
I was not gonna say that.
You're seeing 20-year-olds and coming to find out that the person that raised them wasn't their father.
You
The
remember that?
person who did wasn't even, and not only that, they're going to jail for it.
Remember that guy who spent how long he spent in jail
I think 7 years or 8 years in jail for
for a child that
child
wasn't.
support
Yeah, that wasn't
for a
his.
child that wasn't his. So if a guy asks for DNA test, he's just doing it to make sure that it's his. Right? If you know that that was the only person, then it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. Especially if he's paying for it, like it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But to avoid that, understand the flings for 2023 and beyond, the flings had a cut. The flings had a cut. There are other ways to have fun.
Correct.
There are other ways to enjoy yourself. The flings had a cut. We had to get that out of our culture.
Have some discipline and self control
Have some honor in
and
your
honor.
life,
Yeah.
right? If you want to, if and this is in the my closer, right? You want to fix Trinidad and Tobago, you want to fix the rest of the Caribbean, you do that by building family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do it by voting for some party or asking for better policing.
Correct.
Because more police cars and more policemen with guns and more surveillance and more thing and more promises by political parties not going to fix the country. You want to fix the country? You need to fix yourself. You start having families again.
Mm-hmm.
You just stop having these girls by the self-raising children. A father is necessary for stability. It's not perfect, but it's more likely that the children are going to come out more psychologically stable. They're going to be more successful. They're going to focus on becoming the highest version of themselves with a nuclear family. So, guys, focus on building families from here on out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the government going and do about crime and what the police going and do about crime. You start.
Correct. Because here's what, as I have mentioned before, the first society is the family, the home,
Exactly.
right? And then these same people, the same policemen, the same politicians, the same whatever, where they come from? Society. And
Mm,
society comes from family.
exactly. So at the end of the day, the leaders that we put into office are a reflection of the population that we have. So when you see the immature bickering, because this is not just Trinidad, this is all over.
Yeah.
So when you see the immature bickering and so on and so forth, and the laugh and the kiki and the bacchanal, and that is a reflection of our society.
Correct.
So if you want to change society, we have to change first.
So
You have to change yourself first. It's only right.
yeah.
And I need to add this point too. For all of you who think children just worthless and we have a lost generation. African proverb. The child who is neglected by the village burns it down to feel its warmth.
Yes.
Children are the community's and the society's responsibility. It's not just the parent. And parents, you need to allow the right people, not the worthless people, the right people to influence the children.
You know, as you mentioned that, I've heard so many people, so many women in particular now in this day and age, who say they're not letting anybody else raise their children. So they're not putting them in no daycare, no by no relatives, because again, you don't know the background of them people.
Yeah, because it is, and I understand why they say it.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from a place of fear. Why? Because people are not how they used to be.
Correct.
So we have to, if we honestly want a better society, Trinidad and the Caribbean, and further afield, we have to look at ourselves. All of those the little things. Like, I'm not feeling to go and take driving lessons and doing regs and all them things. I can just pay. All of those little things affect that. You think it's just, I just go in and beat the system. No, those little things affect, and we could see it, we drivers. We could see it on the road when we know somebody into their regs. Just the way they drive, when you know somebody into their regs, and somebody just, pass a little.
Yeah.
All of we have to realize that we're not in isolation. We are part of a bigger organism. And everything we do affects the bigger organism.
Yeah.
So you want a better country, you want a better Caribbean, you have to look at you first. You have to focus on building family. Right? And the last point, you need to build a legacy plan. You need to formulate a legacy plan for you and your family. You need to know where you want to go. Like, you born to just
exist
vibes?
Yeah.
It's just vibes? No. Like we've been saying for the past, let's say, month, it had 200 million other sperm that had 199 million, whatever.
Right.
Had a chance to be born, and as you made it, so that makes you unique. You here for a reason. You ain't just here by chance. You're here for a reason.
Correct.
So make the most of the life that you have. You don't know how long you'll be here for. So don't hold grudges. Don't hold people in mind. Focus on being the best version of yourself and try to make a positive impact on the planet. Don't just be...
To assist with that, as we mentioned in a previous episode, purpose.
Find your purpose. You can't just be, and it's vibes. Like, I'm not saying to not have fun, but have more to life than just fun.
Yeah.
You have duty.
Responsibility.
You have responsibility. So,
and it all, as you mentioned, as you said first, it all ties back into legacy.
Yeah.
What we're leaving for the next generation.
Exactly.
Because after you die, you're not going to be here forever. So, what going on for the future?
And you always hear, as a matter of fact, you hear in the older generation talking about, oh, this is a generation of vipers and so on and so forth. Who raised them?
So yeah, so to include and to touch on your point that you were making there, so relationships, there's some, this is just me mentioning this. There are some people, again, that I've experienced that seem to think that they are either above or beneath other people, right? Which is part of the delusional mindset. So I just want especially for our audience, our viewing audience, and those who may be sharing to other people, please remind and understand that no one is above or beneath anyone else. It's just a matter of difference.
We're just different,
Yeah.
right? And I know we'll do another episode about this. I'm just going to mention the word. I know a lot of girls in our generation now have a problem with the word submit,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand why I have a problem with the word submit. We will deal with that in another episode, but I assure you, the word submit is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. And to tie in again with that last point on legacy, my final point is to reiterate again, to constantly reflect, introspect, work on improving yourself and your mindset. And because we're on the topic of relationship, as you mentioned, see about self first and then your partner. And in regards to your partner, those who are already in relationships, those who seek in relationships, as Ron mentioned, build with legacy in mind.
Mhm. So,
And intentional, being
yep,
intentional. So let that be a guide going forward.
definitely.